I think a key thing that we all need to realize is when we are acting and when we are being our true, authentic self. And in a sea of conformity and peer pressure and societal and cultural norms, how real and authentic are you actually being? When you surround yourself with people, I guarantee you are not being your real, authentic self. And that drains your spirit and your energy because you are not being true. We are afraid to be our true selves around the outside world because they do not accept that and they will cast us aside. So we play these parts and we act, and that is extremely draining on our soul, our spirit, our essence, because that is not who we actually are. That's why we get so drained around people and social things, is because we are not allowed to be our real, authentic selves. And we can go our whole lives never experiencing who we really are around the outside world. Every time you go to your job, realize that you are being paid to act. We are being paid to act our specific role. And if you stop the act of your specific role, you will be fired and they will hire someone else who can act better and fulfill their role. For example, when I go to my job, I have to put on the role as a massage therapist. I have to perform the role of massage therapy, and I have to act a certain way. And people pay me. If I stop, I will get fired, and they will hire someone else to fulfill that role of therapist. And there are certain things you can and can't say in these roles if you're hired by this acting company. If you do your own business, you can do your own thing, and people will hire you or not. But as long as you're under someone else, there are certain roles that you have to fulfill. And this also correlates with your roles and social dynamics. If you stop playing the role and you become lucid in the movie script and you say, hey, I am just an actor, all of this is a scripted play, and I no longer want to be this person in this play. I want out of the play of life, and I am being my real authentic self. People will look at you like, this is not the role that you were given. If you don't play the role you were given, you will be cast aside out of the movie script, and you will be left to yourself. But even in your aloneness with yourself, realize all the roles that you are playing. When no one else is around, why are you still playing all of these roles and scripts? It's because you haven't broken out of the script of who you are, the avatar that you incarnated in, the certain astrological characteristics that were given to you upon entering here. You're still playing out in your daily life, even when no one's around. Why? Why are we doing this? It's because we are not breaking out of that and connecting with the person behind the actor. And I'm only using these words because we are given a specific vocabulary, and these are words that we can identify with. These are words that we can understand. That's what I'm trying to say. We are given certain things in life, and we play the role. Every time you walk out your door, you play the role of a human being. Every time you go out and buy something, you play the role of customer. When you stop feeling drained around other people and within yourself is when you start becoming more authentic and knowing the real you. What is the real you? I don't know. I'm still figuring that out for myself. And in this limited state, it's truly hard to actually know that. But you can get closer and closer and closer. And the more you feel energized within yourself, the more you know you're on the right track. Not energized as in a thrill or like a hype, but feeling you are comfortable in your own skin, so to say. Even though you're in an uncomfortable world and an uncomfortable body, you are being authentic with yourself about how you feel and your experiences and how you're choosing to act in a world full of actors. This world is full of actors. Every time you go outside and interact with people, it's all an act. Who is actually being real and authentic with you? I will guarantee you absolutely nobody, unless they are NPCs. And yeah, they are being exactly who they are because that's the script that they put on. If you can find people who allow you to say and do exactly as you please, as long as it's not affecting the choices of other people in any way, then you will know what it feels like to not be drained around other people. When we're at our jobs, we feel drained, not only from the work, but from the act that we are putting on, from the act of a plumber, or the act of a gas station attendant, or the act of any sort of job that you do. And the same is true with social groups. In the social groups, we put on an act. I hate being around a lot of people because I have to put on an act. I even don't like being around people in general because I have to put on an act. You are not allowed to be your authentic real self because it is breaking the script. And the actors in this play want to continue the play. Whether they are normal people, whether they are conspiracy theorists, whether they are spiritual people, whatever it is, they're fulfilling their role that this life has given them. And they break out of one act and get into a new act. You see this all the time with different fads and social things and different things going around the social sphere. You can see this on social media a lot too. It's like having your life is like a social media page where you're just presenting what you think is acceptable, or even sometimes not acceptable, but it's not really you. How many times can you say that you're being your authentic real self? Probably not a lot. And if you do start being that authentic self and working on that and becoming that person, you will find that many people will fall away because they are still in the play of life and you are ruining their movie. Even if their movie sucks, even if their movie is terrible and tragic, they don't want to know that it is just a play. Now, it doesn't mean that since it's just a play, that it's the experiences and sufferings are meaningful or necessary. Everything can be scripted, and we can be given certain characteristics and roles while it's still being evil, while it still is a real, tangible experience of suffering. When you break out of the script, you can see it for what it is. But as long as you're in that script, you're confined to the role of that script. We can even fall victim to this in our ideas about life. For example, if you are an antinatalist, or if you are a truther, or if you are this or that, you are grouped into this social dynamic. And you start acting and thinking as a group, as a hive mind, just like any other group. You have to be an individual. You have to be your authentic self. And if you have disagreements with certain things with that group, that is okay. You don't have to agree with everything someone says or think. You don't have to agree with the whole ideal of the group. Certain things can connect you. But if you're just another cog in the machine behind the social group, you are not becoming lucid. Don't let other people think for you. You must think for yourself, and you must come to know things for yourself. And you can't just be another actor in these little circles of truthers, or these little circles of truth. In my opinion, you must become lucid and be as authentic as you can within these groups. And if you don't agree with everything the group agrees with, that's okay. But don't go along with things that you know or are not true for you. And this can develop over time. You can, as you become more lucid and more authentic, you are growing. But don't stay in these little animal farms that want to think and dictate for you. Just with every other social group, you'll find out that if you start thinking for yourself, people in that group will not like that necessarily. If you're a hiker, or you like going outdoors and you go with an outdoor group, and you don't necessarily go along with everything, they will shun you. You will realize your true friends and connection when they allow you to be who you are. If you stop liking the outdoors because you realize that it's just a distraction and nature is evil, and you say, I like the exercise part, but I just don't think nature is as beautiful as you guys think it is. It is a cruel, deceptive, evil mouth that feeds and feeds and feeds. And you are incapable of seeing that because you're blinded by the group dynamic. You're not being allowed to think for yourself. And so I want to stop hiking, but I still want to develop this friendship or this interaction. Well, we're no longer friends because all we do is hike. Our connection is through the experience of the meat suit in the hiking environments. And so since you're no longer doing that, we don't want to be around you. It's like that with these circles of truthers as well. If you change your mind about something, you have an opinion that you have come to for yourself, and you think differently about certain things, you'll see that people will fight you. People will not want to be your friend anymore, or I mean, can you really say we're all friends on the internet where we're just typing words and whatnot? I think we are connected, sure. But what I'm trying to say is, when you start being your authentic self, you're bound to have disagreements. You're bound to have different thoughts on things. And we can be actors in these groups. Hey, this is the idea, and these are the ideals, and this is the accepted truth of this group. If you stray out of that, you're bad. You're no longer part of this group because you think differently than us. So you are no longer acting the way we want you to act. So be gone with you, be gone. I'm just piecing these different trains of thoughts together, hopefully to make a congruent picture of this world wants you to put on an identity that's not you. And it seeps through all areas of life. It seeps through all areas of life. When you stop playing the role that people want you to play, you are cast aside in a lot of situations. But playing a role that is not you is extremely draining. Playing a role that is not you will kill your spirit. It will drain you, and deep down you know that this is a waste of time because I am not actually growing. I am not actually able to grow in this environment. And this whole world is like that. It does not want you to grow. It wants you to put on these acts and go along to get along. That's when you become stagnant. That's when you become inauthentic. And that's when you suffer more. You may never find anyone who will accept you for who you are. That's just the place we're in. But you can accept yourself and allow yourself to keep being authentic and growing. Don't snuff out your own flame. You may be wrong about a lot of things, but if you do not explore those things for yourself, if you're not allowing yourself to be authentic and feeling and thinking exactly how you feel and think, regardless of how it looks to other people, you are snuffing out your own flame and you will not grow. Be the person that you wish you had in your life. Allow yourself to be authentic, little by little, little by little. It's hard because we were never taught how to be authentic. We are taught to take orders. We were taught to repeat, to regurgitate. We are never taught to think for ourselves. And it's hard. It's hard. But put on those training wheels. Do what needs to be done for yourself. And eventually you'll be able to take off the training wheels and you will be able to process things in your own way and come to being more authentic with how you think and feel about yourself and the world around you. You can totally disagree with everything I'm saying. And that's okay, because as long as it's authentic. But if there are programmings and different scripts that you haven't dealt with that is steering you away from being able to think in certain ways, then I think you should address that. Anything that you hear that is outside of your programming and you say, oh, that's just not possible. That's not, no, that can never happen. Because I have come to this point in time where I am immovable in this aspect. Nothing I can hear, nothing anyone can say to me, no amount of evidence will ever be able to move where I am now. This is it. I am putting my flag on this hill and I am not moving. If you are at that stage in anything in your life, I think you should question that. I think you should explore that. Because every time that I have done that in my life, I have found out that that was only a hindrance to my growth. That was only a hindrance to my authentic self. Until we come to the full truth, how can you ever be immovable in anything that you think? And some personal things that are immovable for me is the suffering of this realm. The sufferings of this realm, I only got to because I took up my flag and I said, maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe this place is not as good as people say it is. Maybe all the manipulations and the gaslighting and the things that have been put upon us is dictating and programming me to think a certain way. So I'm going to take this flag up. I'm going to say, maybe there's more to climb. Maybe there's more to know. And I climbed up a little more and a little more and a little more until I came to know for myself, my authentic self, that opposed to everyone else around me, I know that the sufferings of this realm is inexcusable. And you may say, well, isn't that a flag that you put on a hill that is immovable? Yeah, that is. But at the same time, I'm still able to think outside of that, to question that, to be able to hypothetically ponder other things. And until I come to more truth or something that makes actual sense, I'm going to keep that flag there on that hill. Is it immovable? I'm going to say it is immovable. So maybe I'm contradicting myself. But I hope you know what I'm saying. I had to get to that point by continually removing flags from my hills and deprogramming. Even when it was extremely hard, I powered through that. So now I have to go to work and put on this act. But in that act, I realize that I will try to be my authentic self through that act. I hate it. I don't want to do it. But for now, I have to, because I have to play the part of citizen of the United States and pay my taxes and pay my mortgage and pay my bills and my insurances and food and blah, 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 blah. I fucking hate playing that act. I hate it. But this actor is lucid, and this actor is coming to more and more authentic truth within myself. And I can choose how to act within the role that I have to play. And the more I become authentic in that, the less I will suffer, and the more I can glean more truths in my daily life. Become lucid, become lucid, become lucid in everything that you do. Even if you have to act, you are lucid within the act. No, hey, this is just my role today. I'm aware of that, and I'm aware of why I'm so drained. It's because I am playing an act. I am playing this role good God, when is it going to end? And then you'll be able to make better choices in your life when that happens. When you start becoming more lucid in your daily life, you begin to realize that mostly everything that you do is based on an act that you have developed for yourself. Every interaction that you have with other people is merely an actor on the stage of life. No one really knows who you are. No one really knows how you feel. And most of the time, you feel defensive about expressing that person, because every time that you have shown just a little bit, people don't know how to relate to that real you. So you go your whole life hiding that from the world and even from yourself. For me, I've realized that my entire life, I'm merely acting the character of who Joshua is. It's like a social media page where you don't really show who you are. The vulnerable parts of you, you don't express. You are an actor in everything that you do to outside observers. Every time you leave your house, you're putting on it the act of, I am a human in this world, in this society, in this age, and there are things that I cannot do or say that will bring attention to me in negative ways. So when you interact with people, you are putting up an act, and this act will drain you. Other people will drain you because you're not being authentic or real with yourself. And when you do find people that you can be authentic and real, you no longer feel drained. You no longer feel necessarily uncomfortable. You feel good. You feel energized because finally you are able to express yourself in ways that you need. Everything that you do is merely an act to hide the true you. And most people will not and cannot accept the real you. They are incapable because they have not done the work that you have. They do not know the things that you know. So when you are that real authentic you, you either get shut down, you get gaslighted, you get manipulated to fall back into a character that you are not. I've noticed this with mostly everyone in my life, that I do not feel comfortable because I'm not allowed to be who I really am. And this will drain you and make you feel bad. Interactions with the outside world equal, I cannot be myself. Thus, I do not want to interact because it is a waste of time and a waste of energy. And that's okay. You don't have to be around people who do not appreciate who you really are. And if you can find people who don't agree with you, but who will allow you to express exactly what you want to express and be exactly who you want to be, as long as it's not hurting or abusing other people, then I think that's a great thing to have. But that is the hardest thing to come by. In this world, they want you to fill your things with distractions and things that do not fulfill you in any way. And the one thing that we want and need are other spirits, so to say, to grow with. And this world does not allow that. Every time you go to your job, every time you interact with anyone, you are acting. And that's something that I think we all need to realize is we are actors, just like everyone else. Every time you go to your job, you are being paid to act a certain way. And if you do not act that certain way, they will fire you. You're not playing the part that they want you to play. For me, I'm a massage therapist when I make my blood money. And if I am myself outside of that script, I will get fired and they will hire someone else to fulfill that role. Whatever you do to get paid, they are expecting you to act the part. You put on the role of, I am a gas station worker, or I am a doctor, I am a electrician, I'm a plumber, I'm whatever this acting company wants me to be so that they can get money from the people that are participating in this role. And all of these roles are fake identities that we all put on to make money. Also, it also correlates with roles in your life. I am the son, I am the daughter, I am the mother, I am the father. I am the friend, I am the lover, blah, 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 blah. And if you stop being that in that certain role, people don't know how to act. People don't want that. This is kind of hard to explain, but think about it. Our whole lives, we are acting. We are given certain scripts and certain lifestyles. I am the outdoorsman. Okay. Think about certain characteristics that certain groups of people have. You know, you have people who ride bikes. You have people who go hiking. You have people who are into sports. All of these things are different roles that you put on and different identities. And you find a group and you have to match that certain identity. It's just like when you have friends who only drink and you stop drinking, they no longer want to be around you because their identity is the experience. And if you stop the experience, you will find out who really is your true friend and who really cares about you. If you're in a hiking group and all you do is go hiking and do certain things and you no longer want to go hiking, you just want to develop an actual connection with somebody, you'll find out that the activities that bound that friend group will cast you aside because you are no longer playing the role. And that can correlate with a lot of aspects. So when you start connecting with your real self and expressing yourself in real ways, you'll find out that you'll lose a lot of friends. You'll lose a lot because you're shedding off that fake false identity that is not you. Yeah, you may like going camping and doing outdoors things, but that's not really you. You'll find out that people put their identity in things that are not them. And all of these things have been marketed in ways that put a false identity onto you. And you'll find all the right gear and all the right things to wear. This is something I noticed growing up. I was in the punk community, the anarchist lifestyle. And I noticed that a lot of people, they didn't fully believe in the ideas. They just wanted to be accepted by their social group. So they wore all the right things and they said the right things, but when it came to actually doing the right things, they fell extremely short because it was merely an act. They wore the right patches and wore the right clothes and went to all the music shows, but when it came to being a individual and upholding certain values and ideas, they fell extremely short. They just wanted to be accepted by the group, your peers. And this is not necessarily you. And I've grown out of that in certain ways, but what I'm trying to say is we're all just acting. And when you stop acting and you start going inward and figuring out who you are in this fucked up world, you'll realize that most people have not done that. Most people only like you from your outward appearance and agreeing with certain things that they agree with. And when you take off the patches and you stop wearing the right clothes and you grow out of the groups, you grow out of the circles, you grow out of the friends and the situations. People get stuck in these little coves of ideas because they are just scripts that we all go through. And when you get out of the script and you start being real and authentic, you realize that most people aren't capable of that. And if they are capable of that, they refuse because of peer pressure and social things.